Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're exploring the fascinating but sometimes scary world of dark psychology. We'll reveal 20 sneaky tricks that manipulators use to control situations and people. It's important to know these tactics to protect yourself from those who might use them against you. Let's start the video. Number 1. Gaslighting. Gaslighting happens when someone tricks another person into questioning their own thoughts and memories. This harmful method is used by denying facts, making untrue statements, and changing evidence. Imagine a situation where someone repeatedly denies something you clearly remember, or tells you your feelings are not valid. Over time, gaslighting makes the person being tricked doubt their own mind, making them easy to control. It's important to know the signs of gaslighting and understand when someone is trying to change your sense of reality. By knowing about this manipulative technique, you can protect your self-confidence and ability to see things clearly. Number 2. Ostrich effect. Next, we explore the ostrich effect, a psychological trick where people naturally avoid facing unpleasant or bad news. Imagine a manipulator convincing you that a situation is too complicated or overwhelming to handle, making you less likely to question or confront it. This tactic creates an environment where avoiding issues becomes the norm, allowing the manipulator to divert attention and maintain control. This strategy is especially effective in scenarios where acknowledging the truth might be uncomfortable or difficult. Understanding the ostrich effect empowers you to tackle challenging situations rather than falling victim to manipulations that encourage you to ignore them. By staying alert and actively questioning narratives that seem overwhelming, you can break free from the mental trap of avoiding uncomfortable truths, thereby safeguarding your ability to confront reality directly. Number 3. Mirroring. Have you ever felt a surprising bond with someone? This could be due to mirroring. Mirroring is a subtle yet effective method where a person copies someone else's body language, gestures, and ways of speaking. While it's usually harmless and helps in forming connections, it can become a manipulative tool if used with bad intentions. Picture meeting someone who perfectly reflects your actions and expressions. This can make you feel at ease and foster a connection. However, it's crucial to notice when mirroring is used to sway or dominate you. Manipulators might use this approach to create a fake sense of friendship, aiming to control the situation to their advantage. By learning about mirroring, you can better distinguish between real bonds and manipulation, protecting yourself from being misled. Before we move on, check out my book recommendations about dark psychology. I have a link in the comment section and in the description of the video. Let's continue to the video. Number 4. Implied urgency. Next, let's delve into implied urgency, a common manipulation strategy used by clever salespeople to speed up your decision-making process. Imagine you're interested in a product but still unsure. Instead of giving you time to think, the salesperson introduces a sense of urgency. A countdown timer on the website, or warnings that an offer will end soon. This tactic creates a feeling of scarcity, igniting a fear of missing out and pushing you to make a quick decision. By limiting your time to think, the manipulator aims to profit from your snap judgments. Implied urgency plays on your instinct to avoid losing out, making you more likely to agree to something without fully considering it. Recognizing this method is key to keeping control over your choices and resisting the rush to act prematurely. Always be cautious of artificial deadlines and give yourself enough time to make well-informed decisions. Number 5. Starting high. Next, we look at another dark psychological tactic called starting high. Imagine a friend asks to borrow money. If they directly ask for $100, you might immediately refuse. However, manipulators often start with a high request and then lower it, which catches you off guard. The initial shock of a high amount makes a smaller follow-up request, like $20, seem more acceptable. This strategy targets your desire to avoid conflicts and puts you in a difficult position. Manipulators, particularly those close to you, use this approach, taking advantage of their knowledge of your boundaries. Their goal is to push you into a compromise, making it easy to overlook that you shouldn't have to negotiate in the first place. Recognizing this tactic can help you maintain your stance and avoid unnecessary concessions. Number 6. Reframing questions. Let's look at reframing questions, a sneaky way people change the wording of questions to get the answers they want. Imagine a salesperson talking about your budget in a way that doesn't directly ask about prices. By changing how they ask the question, they can learn about what you're willing to spend without being straightforward about it. This method can make you confused because it shifts the way the question is asked, giving the person asking an edge in understanding your limits and what you like. Even though this change in how things are asked might seem small, it's actually a clever move to shape your decisions. To fight back against this tactic, stay sharp and notice when questions are being twisted. Make sure your answers reflect what you really think and want, not what someone else is trying to get out of you. This way, you can keep control of your decisions and answer honestly. Number 7. Confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is a mental shortcut that leads people to favor information that agrees with what they already believe, while they overlook details that don't. Imagine coming across a convincing argument that perfectly matches your own views. Confirmation bias takes effect when you quickly agree with this information without really checking if it's true. Manipulators take advantage of this by offering misleading information that sounds right to you, increasing the chances that you'll accept it as true. It's vital to understand confirmation bias so you can get into the habit of carefully evaluating information, questioning your own assumptions and seeking diverse viewpoints. By being aware of and working to overcome confirmation bias, you can defend yourself against tricks that target your thinking patterns. Number 8. Bandwagon effect. The bandwagon effect explores how we often feel a strong pull to go along with what a group is doing. Manipulators use this psychological trick by making it seem like everyone supports a certain idea or product. When people think that something is universally popular, they feel a strong urge to join in. This herd mentality can make people adopt beliefs or make choices they wouldn't normally consider on their own. Understanding the bandwagon effect helps you take a step back and think critically about why you're making a decision. It's important to make sure that your choices are based on what you truly believe, and not just because it seems like everyone else is doing it. By recognizing and questioning the bandwagon effect, you can avoid simply following the crowd and make decisions that are right for you. Number 9. Intentional confusion. Intentional confusion is a tricky tactic where people purposefully use unclear or complicated information. Salespeople often use this method to overload you with too many details, making it hard to figure out what's important. When you're bombarded with complex information, it's easy to miss key points or forget to ask important questions. This deliberate muddling of information is meant to keep you in the dark and more likely to make decisions without fully understanding what you're agreeing to. To combat this, it's important to stay alert, ask questions to clear up any confusion, and ensure you're not rushed into making a decision. Being aware of intentional confusion can help you avoid being manipulated and make more informed choices. Number 10. Just world bias. Just world bias is based on the belief that the world is fundamentally fair and people get what they deserve. Manipulators take advantage of this belief to make unfair situations or false information seem justified and deserved. By persuading people that certain events are just outcomes of one's actions, manipulators put up mental blocks that stop critical thinking. Understanding the just world bias is crucial for overcoming these obstacles. It helps you develop a more detailed understanding and question stories that might use this bias to manipulate opinions. Recognizing this bias allows you to see beyond surface explanations and challenge the fairness of different situations, ensuring you're not misled by oversimplified beliefs of justice. Number 11. Preying on fears. Now, let's look at the manipulation technique of preying on fears. Imagine you've just bought something big, like a new car or a major appliance. At this vulnerable moment, a manipulator, often a salesperson, might introduce extra costs like extended warranties or insurance. They tap into your fears of future problems or breakdowns, crafting a story that convinces you to pay more for peace of mind. They remind you of the large investment you've already made, triggering a fear of regret or loss if you don't buy additional protection. This tactic uses your natural worry about future uncertainties to make you spend more, under the pretense of protecting your purchase. Recognizing this manipulation is key to keeping control of your money, helping you make decisions based on sound reasoning instead of giving in to fear-based tactics. Number 12. Calculated affirmation. Now let's look at calculated affirmation, a manipulation method that uses our desire for approval and positive feedback. When someone wants to be liked, they might use body language like smiles, nods, and leaning in to listen. These small actions can make it seem like they are truly interested in you, making you feel special and important. Manipulators carefully use these signals to create a strong, positive impression. When someone appears really interested in what you're saying, it's easy to believe they genuinely like you. This approach is very effective when people are seeking approval or want to feel accepted. The act of showing fake interest helps manipulators make you see them in a good light, which makes you more likely to be influenced by them. To keep yourself safe, watch for these subtle cues and don't let them sway your decisions. Number 13. Scarcity principle. Have you ever felt a sudden urge to buy something because it was labeled as a limited time offer? This reaction is triggered by what's known as the scarcity principle. Manipulators often use this principle by emphasizing that something is in short supply or available for only a short period, creating a sense of urgency. They convince us that opportunities are scarce, tapping into our fear of missing out and pushing us to act quickly. This can lead to hasty decisions that might not be well thought out. Understanding the scarcity principle allows us to examine these situations more carefully, helping us determine whether the urgency is real or just a manipulation tactic to influence our decisions. With this awareness, we can make choices based on the real value of an opportunity, rather than being rushed by artificially created pressures. This deeper insight helps us stay calm and rational, even when faced with seemingly urgent decisions. Number 14. Foot in the door technique. Let's explore the foot in the door technique, a clever method used by manipulators to gain compliance. It starts with a small, easy-to-agree-to request, which sets you up for agreeing to a bigger one later. For example, imagine a friend asks you for a small favor, and once you say yes, they follow up with a much larger one. This tactic works because once we commit to a small favor, we're more likely to say yes to a larger request to stay consistent. Recognizing the foot in the door technique allows you to take a moment, evaluate each request on its own, and avoid getting pulled into a series of increasing demands. Number 15. Door in the face technique. In contrast, the door in the face technique starts with a big, often unreasonable request, and when that's turned down, a smaller, more reasonable request follows. Think of someone asking for a huge favor, and after you refuse, they ask for something much smaller. This makes the second request seem like a fair compromise, increasing the chances that you'll agree. The trick is to see the manipulative intent behind the large initial request and recognize the smaller follow-up as a calculated step. Being aware of the door in the face technique helps you handle such situations better, allowing you to make decisions about when to hold your ground and when it might be okay to agree. Number 16. Displaying extremes. This dark psychological trick called displaying extremes is a manipulation tactic designed to make you doubt yourself. Similar to gaslighting, it involves presenting extreme, unlikely scenarios that make your opinions seem irrational or over the top. When your views are stretched to their limits, they can appear silly or unsustainable. Manipulators use this strategy effectively to plant seeds of doubt in your mind, which makes it easier for them to pull you to their side. By attacking the core of your beliefs, they guide you toward adopting their views, even if these conflict with your true feelings. Recognizing when someone is using this tactic is key to keeping your confidence intact and protecting yourself from being unduly swayed. Number 17. Closing in. The simple act of closing in can be a sneaky way to manipulate someone. It's a subtle yet powerful approach to sway your thoughts and choices. Imagine someone slowly moving closer to you, inching into your personal space without you fully realizing it. This tactic uses the idea that being close to someone makes us feel comfortable and familiar with them. As the person moves closer, your brain might start to unconsciously link their closeness with trust. This physical nearness can cloud your logical thinking, making you more open to what they suggest. Although it might not seem obvious, just moving closer can make you feel a deeper connection. Knowing about this manipulation helps you keep your personal space and make decisions without the influence of someone's physical presence. Pay attention to small movements and remember how personal space can play a role in manipulative situations. Number 18. Social proof. Let's explore social proof, a psychological concept where people often do what others are doing, especially when they're unsure of what to do themselves. Imagine you see a bunch of people choosing a specific option. You might feel the pull to follow because it seems popular. Manipulators use social proof to make it look like their ideas or products are widely accepted and popular. They create stories showing that many people agree with them, pushing you to accept ideas or make choices based on what seems like everyone else's approval. Understanding social proof is key for telling the difference between genuine, widely supported ideas and fake trends. By thinking for yourself and questioning why something is popular, you can avoid falling for manipulations based on the crowd's choices. Number 19. Halo effect. Next, let's dive into the halo effect, a mental shortcut where a good impression in one area leads to positive opinions in other areas. Imagine meeting someone very charming or seeing a product shown in a really positive way. The halo effect occurs when this good impression makes us think positively about other unrelated things about the person or product, affecting our overall judgment. Manipulators use the halo effect by highlighting one good feature to sway how we see everything else about them or it. Knowing about the halo effect is important for seeing beyond a single positive trait and spotting when impressions are being exaggerated. By carefully evaluating each aspect on its own, you can avoid being tricked by tactics that play on this kind of bias. Number 20. Authority bias. Last but not least, let's look into the authority bias, which describes our natural tendency to trust and follow people who are in positions of authority. Manipulators take advantage of this trust by presenting themselves as experts or leaders, gaining control over our decisions. Whether they are spreading false information or leading us into bad situations, their perceived authority makes their manipulation more effective. Understanding authority. Bias is crucial for keeping your independence and encouraging you to question the real intentions behind advice or commands from those who seem to be in charge. By being aware of this bias, you give yourself the power to critically assess information and protect yourself from those who misuse their authority to manipulate others. There you have it, 20 dark psychological tricks or facts you should know. If you liked this video, hit the thumbs up button and remember to subscribe to our channel for more videos about psychology. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe and keep learning.